everyone to Red Story Time. We have a very special guest today, Avery Hastings, and she's going to talk about all things matcha, not just any type of matcha, but really high quality matcha. She's going to be able to explain the differences, what she carries, and what distinguishes this amazing matcha.
All right, well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Before we get started, do you want to make a cup of matcha with me?
Oh my gosh, of course I do.
So this is our Matcha Maker. The way that we've positioned our company is that we're taking more of a modern approach. So Bonsai Cha is all about modern matcha. So we're not only providing top quality teas to our customers, but we also want to make it a little bit more accessible, because when you really think about it, you have to boil the water, right? And that usually takes time. You have to make sure it's the perfect temperature, and most people recommend it around that 70-degree mark, depending on the tea. And then of course you have to make sure that are perfect. You have to master that whisking technique. And to be honest, I've gone to tea ceremonies before. They've made fun of my whisking technique. I'm not a graceful person, so I needed something that was going to be easy for us, right? Or easy for me and my mom too, because she basically, when we started this company, she was like, I'm not whisking. So we came up with this Matcha Maker. And what you do is, just you put your water in, and there's a little line in there where you just fill it to the line. And then we're going to just add our matcha. You press a button and away it goes. So today I'm going to sample one of my favorites, and this is the one that we usually recommend to everyone, which is Koganei. It is organic matcha, and it is single cultivar, single estate. So it's the Yabukita cultivar, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The moment you smell it, you have this beautiful, sweet, vegetal smell. You get that hints of vanilla. I get a little bit of brioche from it as well. And then of course you get some really nice vibrant green color there. So I'm gonna try not to spill this.
I absolutely love the color of your matcha. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's beautiful bright green. And with a lot of organic matchas, you find that non-organic tends to have a brighter color just because of the fertilizers, right? So when the farmers are growing matcha, obviously when you shade the plants become stressed, right? So they need to basically fight to produce food, and it basically stresses the plant and gives it that vibrant green color. Now, with non-organic fertilizers, obviously it's giving the plant a little bit more to work off of, whereas with the organic fertilizers, it has to work a bit harder. So that's why you tend to find with some non-organic matchas that they do have that more of that vibrant green color. But again, it all depends on the producer and and the farmer as well. So that's just a general rule that we usually like to go off of, but this one is absolutely phenomenal. So you get that beautiful bright green color, gorgeous scent, and then I'm just going to put this into our Matcha Maker.
And so you put a teaspoon or?
Yeah, about half a teaspoon for me. I like mine just a little bit stronger. I'm just gonna, and and it's first thing in the morning here in Tokyo, so I'm gonna need that extra boost right now to be honest.
I love it.
I'm still waking up here. Okay, so I'm gonna just press the button here, and I'm gonna have a cold matcha this morning, so I'm gonna press it twice, and I'm just gonna let that go for a bit and blend it up. So yeah, beautiful organic matcha. This one is from Uji Kyoto. And all of our matcha selection, aside from Rin, if you take a look at our website, you can see all of our different selections. I'll get into that in a moment. But basically for our Koganei matcha, we are working with one of the top tea appraisers in the country. So just to give you guys a little bit of perspective on that, there's only 13 in Japan that hold the highest ranking for tea appraisal, and we have been incredibly fortunate to be working with one of these individuals. So his teas are fantastic. When I first started Bonsai Cha, I don't know how many different matcha powders I've sampled from different suppliers, but when I came across his, it was absolutely phenomenal. And it was so incredibly special, and I knew I had to find a way to add this to our collection. And we were lucky enough to schedule a meeting with him, and he agreed to work with us. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make
Okay, so you originally are from Manitoba, correct? And you now live in Japan, of course, all things matcha.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that color is ridiculous. I love it.
Yeah.
I freaking love it. I need that so bad in my life.
It is delicious. A lot of people are probably going to criticize me because you probably shouldn't be blending these matchas in a matcha latte, to be honest. A lot of the teas are of really high quality and they should be enjoyed on their own. They are ceremonial grade. They are first harvest leaves. The one thing that a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of the people who are very into tea are familiar with, you know, first harvest leaves and ceremonial grade. But for those that don't know, ceremonial grade is not regulated. So there's no standard in Japan that really says, okay, you have to meet a certain criteria to be known as, to be marked as ceremonial grade or to be labeled as ceremonial grade. It is very subjective and it does depend on the tea master. So it's kind of, I feel like you almost need to caution people when they buy ceremonial grade because of stuff on the market.
Unless they know the distributor and they know the person that they're getting it from. My distributor from Japan, he's like, actually, it's, you know, to be considered real ceremonial grade, it needs to be hand ground. So it's like, you know, it is very distinctive and unique and definitely, you know, offers those extra special notes. Hand blending, anytime you do any type of hand crushing or hand blending, you are definitely getting your energy into the tea leaves, and it's a very special thing. So, and I 100% understand with like, oh my gosh, why would you blend, you know, the most, you know, top matcha? But if that's what you really love and that's how you enjoy it, I mean, hey, to each his own.
Absolutely. And I think we've just been a little bit spoiled here being so close to the source that we are always able to get our hands on some really top quality matcha. So even for me, Kogane, which most people would enjoy on their own, I still prefer to blend it in a latte. And then I have some other blends that aren't part of our lineup that I kind of secretly enjoy on my own. So it's like my secret matcha stash that I reserve for, you know, very special occasions, just kind of like having that moment by myself or with friends and family. I kind of bring that out too, but maybe one day we'll be able to introduce that into our lineup. So yeah, so just going back to Kogane for a second, beautiful green matcha. I absolutely love it. You get that really nice steamed greens, you get a little bit of floral notes from it. I think this is probably one of the most enjoyable matcha powders I have. It's my go-to every morning. If I want my matcha latte, I always have my Kogane. And then of course with the other ones, you know, it's just depending on my mood, I'll kind of switch it up here and there. So
yeah, and can you tell the viewers, because I know your product is much more high end than, you know, most other distributors and, you know, products out there. And so can you tell them a little bit about like what distinguishes it? I mean, I know that you said that, you know, it's coming from the top tier of farmers and estates and all of that.
Yeah.
But what really distinguishes it? Is it the overall flavor profile? Is it, you know?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, with any matcha, you can just, it's a dead giveaway the moment you see the color of the matcha, right? A lot of the matcha on the market you find today, it's dull, it's bitter, you know, it's grainy, and you can instantly tell the quality of a matcha just from the moment you open the can, right? You'll be able to have that intoxicating sweet aroma. You're going to be able to feel it between your fingers, and it's like eyeshadow. So if you take a look at something like, I don't want to, you know, bash our regular coffee shops, but you know, you take a look at something like this, which is pretty much the consistency of eyeshadow versus some of the other stuff you'll find at your local coffee shop. That tends to be a little bit more, you know, grainy, and it has that dull. It doesn't really have a lot of character to it. So even some of the ceremonial matcha grade powders on the market tend to be a little bit more one-dimensional, right? So you open it up, green, but you don't really get too much out of it, right? It's like your daily matcha. It's like bright, it's grassy. With these matcha powders, you're getting a little bit more. So it's kind of like fine wine, right? Like everybody has that go-to wine that they absolutely love. You know, you pick it up from the store and you know what you're getting, right? It's just very plain and basic. But when you want to splurge or you want a more luxurious matcha, you want to have something with a little bit more dimension, you want to be able to, smell the different characteristics and experience some of those undertones, that's when you're going to go for something like Bonsai Cha, right? You open up the can, you're getting that amazing aroma. You can go through and explore the different taste profiles of each. So, for example, Kogane, like I said, you're going to basically be getting like that steamed greens, you're getting butter, you're getting chamomile, you're getting, just this wonderful symphony of flavors. And then you start gravitating into some of our other matcha powders here. And aoyama, which is made from okumodori leaves, it's completely different, right? You're getting some of like that wheatgrass, you're getting cocoa, you're getting, just these other like undertones and complexities, like some slight oceanic notes that are all kind of tied and blended in together. So that's the difference with, some of the higher end matcha powders out there is I like to compare it to wine. And it's interesting because you wouldn't think, like, a lot of people look at tea and they're just like, oh, it's just tea, right? But once you dive into it, right, and you probably know all too well, as a blend specialist and working with those high-end luxury teas, that the quality does make all of the difference.
Makes such a difference. Oh my gosh. The smoothness, like even just from my matcha blend that I have out right now, I have recently switched over to a much more higher end matcha. And I mean, there's no comparison. Like the color is like ridiculously good. The taste is so much smoother. The mouthfeel is thicker. It's like once you get the good stuff, there's no going back. It's so good. And I'm dying to try just your straight matcha as well, just so I could just have that smooth, thick, rich mouthfeel in my mouth. I mean, just looking at it, I'm like drooling over here. Yeah. And so you carry 4 different types of matcha, or how many?
We carry 4 different types of matcha powders at the moment that are your ceremonial grade matcha powders. So that's Kogane, Aoyama, Hoku, and Rin. And Rin is going to be a limited edition. So once it's gone, it's going to be gone. We also carry a hojicha called Koyo. Mm-hmm. And then we also have a culinary blend called Okashi. But the culinary blend Okashi is basically what I would like to call almost like high-end culinary grade. So it is still a ceremonial grade powder, but it's on the lower end of the ceremonial grade powders. So I always encourage people to do is, if you're on a bit of a budget and you still want to try quality matcha, you can definitely get away with the Okashi, even just putting that into your lattes in the morning. And it still gives you that vibrant, grassy, like matcha sort of taste. But for those looking for something a little bit more special, you want to dive into the world of matcha, you want to explore a little bit more, this is what I would recommend, of course.
Awesome. So we have about 5 minutes left, and we wanted to find out what got you into this. Like, a girl from Manitoba moves to Japan and she's all things matcha. How did that happen?
Oh my gosh. It was actually really funny. My mom had come on a trip to Japan to visit me about 3 years ago, before COVID hit. And we were traveling around Japan, and I absolutely love Kyoto. It's one of my favorite cities in Japan. I love exploring the temples. I mean, obviously Uji, home of matcha. And we were traveling around, and we went to a little tea house, and we tried the tea there, and we were absolutely blown away. Even a lot of the, cafes that you'll find in the Kyoto area, they still don't sell a lot of the higher quality matcha, but once you kind of veer off the beaten path and you go and find those little tea houses, that's where you get some really special stuff. So the moment that we had tried some of the higher quality matcha that Japan had to offer, my mom was like, we have to find a way to bring this back to Canada. We think there's a great opportunity here. Like a lot of people in North America don't know what good matcha is, because all they have to compare against is the stuff that you get at your local coffee shop, which is usually, coffee sweetener, sugar. You have to blend it with something to make it taste good. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But this, you can drink it on its own. It doesn't need any added sweeteners, and it's not bitter. And everybody has a bad first matcha experience, right? Matcha, it's terrible. I'll never drink it. I'm like, no, We haven't had the good stuff.
Right.
But anyways, so we knew we had to find a way to bring it back to Canada. I started doing a little bit more research, had some conversations. My husband is Japanese, so obviously for whatever, if I couldn't communicate with some of the local suppliers here, he would help me out. And then of course we ended up forging some really strong relationships with some partner farms out here, and that's what helped bring Bonsai Cha to life. I truly value the relationships we have with our suppliers. It's all family run, incredible people, and like I said, these families have been around for generations, and they're award-winning tea masters. So we're definitely very, very fortunate.
Awesome. Well, that sounds amazing, and I can't wait to try your tea as well. Tell our viewers, how can they contact you or find your teas online and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we have our website. It's just bonsaicha.com. You can reach out to me on Instagram, or you can email us at bonsaicha@gmail.com. We also have a contact form on our website. We do offer retail teas, and then for those who are looking to carry products in their store, we also offer a wholesale program. So that's just basically, we offer matcha by the kilogram. We offer unbranded, unlabeled tins. So if you want to brand it as your own, that's also a possibility. And we also offer our Bonsai Cha tins as well at wholesale prices. So we do have a wholesale program that we are building out, and that does include matcha and hoji cha. And in the future, maybe we'll add some gyokuro or something like that in there. But start small. We're just started here, so if there's any questions, obviously feel free